Hello everyone and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. This is Colin and I'm so excited to show you this game. I cannot believe this flew under both Barrett and my radar. We actually saw this. This is Divinity Original Sin, the board game. We saw it at Gen Con last year and we decided not to pick it up, and I'm so glad I found someone selling it secondhand. I've given the tutorial a try and really enjoyed it. It seems very interesting and unique and I can't wait to show it to you. We're not going to do the tutorial. There's a bunch of videos out there of people doing the tutorial. We're going to start right off with the campaign. The goal in this game is to get through this large atlas. There's different locations and every location will have a certain exit, maybe multiple exits. Someone on BGG posted this. This is so cool. It's not spoilery, but it tells you what pages will unlock other pages and where you can go, and you can just see all the different varying paths. These are the two expansions that I actually don't have yet. We'll see if I want to pick them up, but for right now I don't have those expansions, but still look at all of this variety. So many different ways we can go. I'm actually going to use this and I'm going to track off which ones that I've done so I can see which way I went, and I can make sure if I ever replay this I can go a different way. From here, we can read the introduction and we'll just walk through the tutorial because it does matter for the story. So just so you understand what has happened, and then we'll start our adventure at the Shipwreck location. In the world of Revelon, a religious sect known as the Divine Order holds power. Magisters make up a faction of the order bent on following the rule of law, and they have seen fit to upend your life. Under a decree to detain anyone suspected of being a sorcerer, the Magisters believe there is a connection between sorcerers and the attacks that have been carried out by nightmarish creatures called Voidwoken. Bound by a magical collar that cannot be easily removed, your ability to use your source magic is greatly impeded. Worse, the ship is headed to an isolated island called Fort Joy, a prison from which there can be no escape. But hope is not lost. Through quick thinking, you have made allies among some of the prisoners. Though you may well end up in Fort Joy, there is no prison that will hold you, not while you have strength to fight back. Here we have a picture for the tutorial. This is us inside of our cell. We are believed to be able to use magic, and they don't like that very much. Okay, if we were doing the tutorial, we would start at the torture chamber. Just know we sneak out of here. We meet somebody who tries to kill us. We have to fight him back. After that, then we'd move ourselves to the lower hold. We'd read some more text, and we'd have to deal with some other issues here, as well as potentially fight another enemy. There might be an enemy attacking the ship as well. All of that happens after that. Then we would move to the next page. You arrive to the scene of a standoff between the Magisters and a prisoner. The sorcerer, Darkon, manages to remove his source collar. "Stand down or you'll attract the beast, Darkon. You fool!" And the raw magical energy draws the attention of a kraken. So a kraken attacks the boat itself. Then the ship sinks, and so that's where we are. We're going to be at a shipwreck. This is the first scenario for the campaign. Here we have the full art picture of where we have landed with our shipwreck. It tells us we're at a level 1, so when we set up our characters, they're all going to be level 1 characters. I'll have you meet our characters in just a second. We will flip this over and we have some text to read. You wake to the sounds of waves crashing. As your eyes flicker open, you squint from the blazing sun and take in a beach littered with shattered remains of your ship. Sitting up, you sink slightly into hot sand that stretches out along a tropical coastline. Instinctively, your hands go to your neck, fingertips grazing the metal collar that suppresses the amount of source magic you may cast. A sigh of relief escapes your lips when you discover you are still in possession of your equipment. Now to salvage what you can find of value from the wreckage and determine your path forward. Depending on what dangers lurk in the wilds of the island, Fort Joy may prove to be a safe harbor yet. You catch a glimpse of its looming presence on a distant hill. One way or another, a choice must be made before the rising tide forces one. So that's basically telling us we have a limited amount of time here before there's some issues. To set up this location, we need to take out the Shipwreck location deck. That's this one. I have it. It has a total of 11 cards. It's for page number 3 and level 1. Really nice. They have all that info there. So if ever you replay this, or like me, I got a secondhand copy, I can make sure that all the cards are there and I'm not missing anything. We will be playing with 2 origins, so we are going to set our time tracker to 10. You have less time if there's more people, and you'll see why as we play. we have to place all of our origins in these shallows, and then we have to reveal journal card 38, 39, and 40. Here is the journal deck. During the game, you're going to be grabbing journal cards from here, and there are 3 different symbols here, and they're going to push the main story a certain way depending on how many of those symbols that you're gaining. So right now we don't have a choice, but depending on future choices, we might get certain journal cards which will push the main story a specific direction. While being held prisoner aboard the ship, you overhear 2 guards muttering to each other. Waves crash loudly and forcefully over the side of the vessel, but you catch a snippet of their conversation. "Dang seekers running amok," one says. "I'd take a bit of seasickness over dealing with the rebels any day." "Psh," says the other guard. "Our seafaring days will soon be over once Dallas, the hammer, crushes the rebellion." As you are set adrift in the ocean current and descend into its briny darkness, an ethereal voice calls out to you. "It's not your time to die. Fate has seen fit to bring you to me, for you are no ordinary sorcerers, nor is this island what it seems. Source flows through everything here. Darkon seeks a power that threatens all life on the island and perhaps beyond. I have chosen you to stop him. Answer my call, heroes." We met one of Darkon's lackeys during the tutorial, and he was one of the ones that tried to attack us, so we don't like him. On board the ship, you discovered a note about smugglers on the island. The Magisters are investigating their increased activity, noting that their ventures are bringing them further into the island for some reason. Interesting. You can see we had one of each of the symbols. You have that anchor, you have that portal-looking thing, and you have the helmet. Our 2 origins will start here in the shallows. You're going to see over on the right-hand side, this location's already considered wet. That means if ever we're taking wet damage or damage with water, it'll be +2 because of it. Same thing for any enemies that show up there. I'm playing with 2 characters. We've got Frizana. She looks so cool. I do not have these painted. I'm so sorry. I wasn't sure if I'm going to keep this game, but I definitely think I'm going to after playing the tutorial. And then our other character will be Tanguistal. Each of our heroes start with 7 health. You'll also see we're starting at rank 1. We can flip these cards over when we level up to rank 2. And look, now we have 9 health. Right, so it's kind of cool. They've got 4 cards. You have 4 different levels for your characters. Each character has a single unique ability, and then we've chosen a talent, which I'll show you in a little bit, and we have a weapon and some armor, and we have our source collar. Okay, right now we are very limited on what we can use the source on. We can spend our single source that we have here to re-roll any dice that were just rolled. This game does use lots of dice, which I love. White, blue, and red. You can imagine red's better than white, and blue is better than white. White is the least good. Of course, that's a double hit. That'd be nice. We each have one of these collars, and during the campaign, we will find a way to get rid of those, and that will unlock some more abilities. On the left-hand side of the book, we have our time track. Now, I do have some upgraded components for this game. I'll put a link in the description below, but I love this time track. Normally, it's just this basic token that you would use. Boring. This is why I need to get my minis painted. We're going to use this time track here, and we'll place it on the 10 spot. Now, you're going to see there's a spot right here, and there's another one farther down where a certain event will trigger when our time marker goes to this spot. So when we get down to time 6, we need to look at something that has this A here. That will match one of the cards inside of this Shipwreck location deck. This game is played over a series of rounds. As the rounds go by, our time runs out. We want to find an exit from this location, hopefully before we get to the end of our time track. At the beginning of each round, we have to determine what type of round we're going to be taking. Will it be an explore round? Will it be a combat round? Or will it be a rest round right here? When we have no enemies on the board, it's either going to be a rest or an explore. Whenever there's enemies on the board, it has to be a combat round. So we'll start right now on the explore round. The first part of an explore round is our origins turn. In any order, each origin takes 1 turn to travel any distance, and then we'd slide down some cooldowns. We don't have cooldowns for now. You'll see how all that works as we play. After we do that, each group of origins in a space together choose to either reveal a location card that's matching their space, or take one that maybe we reserved from before, and that could have been reserved from any place. So I could explore in, let's say, the tide pools, and something that I find there I think would be really good for one of my other characters. I can put it in the holding area, and my other character can then explore it the next turn. Then we have to resolve each revealed card in the order of our choice, and at the end of the round we advance the time track by 1. There are a couple items to note about the board itself. This location, there's actually 4 cards that we can explore here. If we decided to stay together and explore here, we'd only draw 1 card, not one for each of us. But that means if it's a combat or if it's something that has a test, we can choose which character can do the test and might get better results that way. Conversely, we can move to different locations and check them out. And you can see in this rock jetty, there's only 1 card here, so we can do 1 explore here. And then maybe go to the tidal pools and whatnot. Tanguistel is incredibly good at challenges, so what I think I'm going to have her do for this explore round is simply stay in the shallows. Because we're in the exploration mode, I don't have to spend movement. I can move anywhere that I possibly can. Now, if there's a lock or a location is covered up or doesn't have anything there, of course, we can't go to those ones, but all of these are open to us. I think what we'll do is have Frizana go over to the cliff face. So now, because of that, I need to reveal cards from this location deck for each of those locations. The shallows has 4 of them, so I'm going to shuffle them up and randomly grab one of them. We'll give them a good shuffle, and we'll pick this one. We also can grab the cliff face card for Frizana, and we can decide what order we want to resolve these. Looking at them, I don't think it really matters, so I think I'm going to have Tanguistel resolve hers first. Scattered among the rubble are pieces of paper, several of which refer to silent monks and experiments taking place on the island. Oh, the notes are too water damaged to make sense of, so you turn your attention to the wreckage and try to find usable gear. Each origin here may make a challenge roll to search for supplies. If no one does, place his card in the holding area. Okay, so this is interesting. If we have Tanguistel resolve this, that means that Frizana cannot do this. But if we wait and did this next round, we both can roll dice and both try and get something positive here. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to have Tanguistel do this. She gets to roll 3 white dice, and then we can look at all of our keywords and see if any of them match the ones that are here, and we gain additional white dice or a red die. Like I said, the red dice are better than the white dice. So Barbarian, Mercenary, Polymorph, and Duelist. We can see here Tanguistel is both Mercenary and Barbarian, so that's 2 additional white dice. Now there's one other thing. Do you see her ability? When you make a challenge roll, you start with 3 red dice instead of 3 white dice. So she's actually going to be rolling 3 red plus 2 white because of the Barbarian and Mercenary. However, I decided to make her all skilled up. We all gained a level 1 talent, and her level 1 is when you make a challenge roll for each of those skill icons, which is normally a miss, that counts as a success. So she should be pretty good at this. This will be a roll of 3 red and 2 white, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total successes. If we look at the back side of this card, 3 plus successes, we get to draw a level 1 item. Our level 1 item is a copper band. While this is equipped, once per round when you make a physical attack, you may reroll 1 die. It's actually good for her because she normally attacks with physical attacks. You can equip 2 trinkets, so that will be her first trinket she has. She still has an open slot and a place to store 3 items as well, which you can always exchange during the encounter. That will end Tanguistel's encounter. Now we have Frizana's. A fortress stands in the distance, its stone walls nestled up against a tall rock outcropping. You have no doubt that it is the infamous Fort Joy. Squinting under the bright sun, you make out silhouettes descending upon the beach. Reveal Journal Card 17. A few brawny prisoners appear on the beach, having made their way down from the fort. More fish washed up, one of them jokes as the other begins to salvage for supplies in the shipwreck. A word to the wise, coin can get you only so far at the Joy. Griff's always looking for more muscle. He can be your inside man just like he's done for your fellow shipmate, Darkon, who came through the fort yesterday. Ooh, we don't like Darkon. So these guys might not be good. Though the beach may offer more supplies, making your way to the fort could provide more direct answers. The party may go to the Fort Joy entrance, page 5. If you decide not to, place this card in the holding area. So we could leave right now, which is somewhat tempting actually, but there's some good stuff here that we might want to collect before we go. So I don't think we're going to go yet, but we can always decide if there's no enemies. Oh, actually we couldn't right now because we're not in the same space. If we're in the same space, we can then choose this card from the holding area and go to page 5, which would end this encounter on this page and continue on with our story. That was a solid first round. We gained an item and we already know of an exit. I'm not sad about that. We'll do another explore round. I think we're going to leave Tanguistel here in the shallows, and let's go ahead and have Frazana go to the tide pools. Sure, let's have her go here. We now only have 3 cards for the shallows, so we'll shuffle those up and grab this one. And we have the tide pools card here. Looking at both of them, I don't think it matters which we do first. Let's do Tanguistel's first again. Large planks from the shipwreck have washed ashore here. As you drag some of the wooden boards aside, you discover some broken crates, partially buried in the sand. Each origin here may make a challenge roll to search the crates. We have cultist, scholar, and hydrophysicist. Well, I think, Frazana is a cultist, so she would roll slightly better. What if we just held for a round, we didn't encounter it this time, and we both try and encounter this one? So I think we won't resolve this, and we'll place this in the holding area, and next round we can bring Frazana to our location and specifically encounter this card. Frazana checked out the tidal pools. Shallow tide pools offer cool relief and refreshment from the relentless heat of the blazing sun. Crabs scuttle around the wreckage on the beach, their beady black eyes shimmering strangely with source. So with some magic. If an origin has Pet Pal, so that is one of the level 1 talents that we could have picked up. We didn't. Otherwise, we just place this in the holding area. That was certainly a fast round, and we're going to have a fast round here for round 8. Frazana will meet up with Tanguistel, and we will encounter that card that we placed in the holding area so that we can each roll and maybe get something good. Frazana will be first. She'd roll 3 white dice, but she does have the cultist keyword, so she gets to roll 4 white dice, and she gets 2 successes. At 1 to 3, we gain 2 gold. We'll take that. We have 2 gold, and gold in this game is a shared resource. I can't use the boring gold that came with this game. I'm instead going to use my pirate booty gold. I'll put a link in the description below if you like how they look. You can also use it for a pirate version of Texas Hold'em or something like that. All right, we're going to have Tanguistel roll next. She rolls 3 reds, so she'll roll those up. She has 1, 2, 3, 4. That's perfect. That will gain us 3 gold, so we now have 5. Our time is starting to run short. We're already down to 7. I do think I'm going to have Tanguistel continue to explore this location, and let's have Frazana move up to the sandy shore. We have 2 cards remaining for Tanguistel. I'm going to shuffle these up and not look, and we're going to pick this one. And then the sandy shore is this card. Looks like it doesn't matter what order, so we'll do Tanguistel first. The storm has pushed large portions of the ship into a craggy part of the shoreline, including remnants of the captain's quarters. Waves crash against the rocks, making the area treacherous, and you weigh the risks of investigating the wreckage against the rewards you might discover there. One origin, oh sweet, we only did 1 here, may make a challenge roll to cross the rocks. We would need huntsman, animal, or rogue. If we had teleportation, we could just teleport. I don't have that. I don't have huntsman, rogue. I don't have any of that. So it'd be 3 red dice. We're gonna do it, right? We'll roll up our red dice, and we have 2, 4, 5 successes. She's awesome. We have you find something of value in the wreckage. Gain a small frost rune. This rune looks awesome. It'll be placed on top of either a trinket, or we can flip it over. It could be on some armor. Okay, we can decide which one. I think I'm going to do the trinket, because look at this. At the start of your turn, gain +1. I haven't talked about this yet because we haven't found a combat yet. When we find combat, we'll actually start gaining action points. We're in a location that's wet right now. And so if we start our turn in a wet location, we gain +1 actions. So yeah, we'll place that onto our copper band. Frazana will check out the sandy shore. The sand stretches out as far as the eye can see. You notice faint cracks, all but erased by a warm sea breeze. 2 elven children wearing source collars splash in the nearby tidal pools, but stop to look at you. You don't look like pirates. Reveal journal card 16. The disheveled children keep their distance, but call out to you as they walk down the beach. We tried to warn the pirates about the monsters further up the beach, one of them starts, but he ran off in a hurry. People say a source flows through everything here on account of the goddess Amadia. Sometimes it brings the void woken. Other times it makes new kinds of monsters. If you would go up the beach, you ought to mind the vegetals. They bite and gnash and growl. With that, the children roar at you. Perhaps the tales of monsters were told to them to prevent them from wandering too far. Nonetheless, you keep your guard up. Whoever left these prints in the sand may be the best lead you've had so far in your search for answers. You may follow the fast disappearing tracks or continue on your way. The party may go to the upper beach, so this would be page 4. If you decide not to, place this in the holding area. We haven't had a combat. I want to at least have one combat here before we move. So I think I'm going to put this in our holding area. I do find it quite interesting that in the tutorial, we started with a fight right away. And here, we're looking for a fight. Okay, we have to resolve card A because we hit here on the time. We only have 6 time left, which is pretty good. But when you get into combat, it can last a couple rounds. You don't stop moving that tracker down, so I'm a little bit nervous. We have the rising tide. Sea waves crash into the beach. We'll flip this card. All spaces on the map become wet. This is quite interesting because now, no matter where Tanguistel starts her turn during a combat, she'll always gain +1 actions. But I also have a feeling this is signaling the tide coming up and we need to get out of this location. I think for this round, I think what we're going to do is we're going to just journey together in this location. I may have seen that one of these cards does have a combat. That's the only one left. I want to take on a crocodile. We need to spawn the following enemies and place this card in the active combat stack. When all enemies are defeated or all origins are down, we'll flip this card. So we can see in location 1, right where we're at, and unfortunately they're going to be fast. You'll see what that means as we play and do the combat rounds. They're going to activate first. There's one of them, and then there are none for 2-player that are slow. So we just have one crocodile. I have found the crocodile card. It's a level 1. Look at that art. I love it. Now, what's really interesting in this game, and it's a give or take on whether you like it or not, I'm kind of bummed, but I also think it makes sense. What we do is we find a standee that matches the frame that we're using because there are so many different enemies. It would have been very hard for them to come out with miniatures for all these different enemy types. So instead you just use this standee. We'll be placing it in location 1, right where we are in the shallows. This crocodile has 24 health. It has 2 resistance to physical attacks and 2 resistance to magical attacks. When this crocodile activates, which will be very soon, we're going to roll this die to determine who he is going to attack. If he rolls that symbol, this is stating it's going to be the target origin with the least of whatever this quantity is. This one is the least amount of shields, and that's physical shields. It will then move 2 towards them. It targets only a single enemy at range 0. It rolls 3 white dice, +2 to its hit, and it's a physical attack. It has, when this minion attacks, if any of the special symbols are rolled, add +3 damage and the target gains bleeding. And you're going to see there's lots of statuses in this game. That's part of the fun, is trying to manipulate the statuses that are both on yourself and that are on the enemies. Whenever an enemy spawns, you have to determine whether they're fast or slow. If they are fast, they're placed up here and they activate before we do. See, this is where we activate. So fast, we activate, then slow. We also have our active combat card here. You can have multiple combats going at the same time. If we had revealed another combat, when we had revealed these crocodiles, we would have 2 active combats at the same time. This is going to end our round. Whenever an enemy spawns, they don't attack in that round, and we don't attack because we're still in an exploration round. But now we're going to move into a combat round. If there are any enemies on the map at the start of a round, the party is in combat. So we first start with those fast enemies. Each fast enemy takes 1 turn to do the following. They're going to choose a target by rolling this die. They're not going to have to move because that crocodile's in the perfect spot. It will then attack. If it can't attack, let's say we had run away from it, it would then heal equal to its level, which is a level 1. Then we have the origin turn. In any origin, each origin takes 1 turn, gains action points, and takes actions, and then slides down cooldowns. The cooldowns are important both for our skill cards, which I'm going to show you in a bit, as well as all of the status effects of the game. Finally, if there were any slow enemies, they'd activate, and then we go to the end of the round. We'll start by rolling the targeting die, and this die states that the crocodile will target the closest origin. We're both in the same location, so we can choose. We're definitely going to choose Tanguistel. Tanguistel currently has some banded armor, which gives her +3 physical defense and +1 magical defense. This attack is physical, so we've got 3, and we're going to have 3 dice +2 auto successes rolled against us. Don't forget, we only have 7 health, which isn't a ton. We'll roll these up. Okay, we have the 2 successes automatically, plus 2 more, minus the 3 defense. We're down to 6 health. We can take that. It's only 1 damage. Fortunately, he didn't roll any of the specials because that would have been additional damage. I think it was 3, and bleeding. We don't have to worry about that. So that was the crocodile attacking us. Now it's our turn to activate. I'm going to start with Tanguistel. The first thing we get to do is gain 4 action points, but don't forget we have the small frost rune, which gives us +1 because we're in a location that's wet. There's water all over. So we have 5 action points. We can now use those action points for all the different things that we have here. Use the card actions that are in our hand, which we'll look at in a second, pay that cost. We can always move any number of spaces for 1 action point each. We can move an enemy in an adjacent space into your space to taunt. We can equip or store any items. We can trade. We can recover if there's no enemies in your space, either heal 2 or slide 1 status to the left clockwise, and we can revive. If one of us goes down, we can have the other one go to the same location and transfer any amount of health to a downed origin in your space or an adjacent one to revive them. We have a single-handed sword in our hand that we can always spend 1 action. It has a range of 0, so it has to be attacking an enemy in our space. It only targets 1 enemy, a single one. We roll 3 white dice and get 1 auto success. And it says when you attack with this, you can spend an additional action to roll 1 red die if we'd like. That actually isn't terrible, but we also have 4 skill cards in our hand that are so much better. In this game, there are a total of 12 different schools of skills that you can learn. When I built my 2 characters, I could choose any level 1 skills from any of these schools. That meant I could make Tanguistel a ranged combat or a geomancer or a necromancer, whatever I wanted. I have to say this is one of the coolest parts of the game. You can really customize your character, and as we level up, we can gain more cards, and we can gain them either in those specific schools or grab cards from other schools if we'd like. However, as we level up, you will want to focus on maybe 1 or 2 of these, because in order to get the level 3 skills, you have to have a talent that lets you do that, and so you can't have a talent for all these different schools. I decided to have Tanguistel use 2 duelist cards because she has a single-handed melee weapon, and you can see here both of them require that. Up at the top of the card, it tells us the cost in action points and then where it's going to go on our cooldown slot. So this one will go on the cooldown slot of 2 after we use this card. This one's slightly different. It costs us 2. It goes to our 4th slot. When we get to the 1 slot, we actually flip this card over because we can no longer use its ability. So you got to make sure to look at the card to see will it flip or will it not after you use it. This one lets us to make up to 2 attacks with a one-handed melee weapon against the same target. Add your rank to each roll. So right now that'd be adding 1 to each roll. The riposte is when a single target attack is made against you. You may flip this face down to ignore all damage and status from the attack, then make an attack with a one-handed weapon. Seemed kind of awesome. We also grabbed a pyrokinetic card. This can only target an origin. It's a range of 0 and single. Your target gains haste. Haste gives more action points, which I felt was really helpful. And then our last one is the poison dart. So this is also a single, costs 2 action points, goes into our second cooldown slot. We get to roll 4 blue dice and we get 1 auto success. There are different types of damage that we can deal during this game. The different types are listed here. We've got physical, air, water, fire, earth, poison, and direct damage. So this card deals poison damage. All the other cards we were looking at deals physical damage. This card states, if your target is in your space, you may reroll 1 die. If you roll any of the skill icons, your target gains poison. If you roll 2 of them, you may also apply blinded, and those are all status cards. I'm hoping that we can do some of that. We have a total of 5 actions available to us. I think the first thing we're going to do is this flurry of blows. We're right in that spot. We're going to spend 2 action points and do 2 melee attacks, gaining 1 additional success because of that. We place these cards on the cooldown slots at the top of our board, and because this has no ability after we activate it, we'll flip it over so it doesn't distract us. That'll be different than the riposte card, which will come out here and will be face up until we use it, or if it gets to the 1 slot, then it will flip upside down, and this is the 1 slot, sorry. This cost us 2 action points, so we'll move down to 3. And don't forget our sword, because we're attacking with this, we can spend an action point to also roll a red die. I'm going to do that for one of the attacks. So we're going to go down to 2 action points remaining. And I should say, if we don't use all of our action points, we can keep them for the next round, and then we just increase it by 4 or actually 5 more for us. For our first attack, we'll roll 3 white dice. We have the 1 auto success plus the 1 from the sword itself, so that's 2 auto successes. We'll roll this up, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That skill icon doesn't do anything for us. The crocodile had 2 physical armor, so that means we just dealt it 4 damage, so we'll knock him down to 20 health. We'll do that second attack, this time rolling 3 white dice, and we only have 3 successes. Let's use that source that we have, might as well, because I'm thinking of leaving this page soon, and we'll just re-roll these 3 white dice. Come on, give us something good. Nah, that's only going to be 1 damage to him. He's down to 19. For our final 2 action points, let's use this poison dart, which will allow us to roll 4 blue dice and have 1 auto success. This is poison damage, so he still has resistance of 2 for that, but I'm really hoping we can poison him, so we just need one of those skill icons. We have 1 auto success from that card. Let's roll our 4 blue dice. Okay, we only dealt him 2 damage because he has got 2 shields, so 2 damage, but we will poison him. And I almost forgot, if we are in the target's space, we can reroll 1 die. Don't mind if I do. Let's reroll this one. So that will deal him another damage. So that means we dealt him 3 damage, putting him down to 16 health, and we poisoned him. Each status card is double-sided, and this is only some of them. There's all of these as well. There's tons and tons of conditions. Each condition has a minion side as well as a origin or boss side, so make sure you have it on the right side. We also would have to look at the card to determine where this is located. This is going to be located on his level 2 section of his cooldown, so that means for 2 rounds he's going to be dealing with poison. It says at the start of this minion's turn, they take 2 damage, and that goes through all shields. If they are undead, they actually heal. They can't be healed or be healed unless they are undead. This would mean if Frizana could somehow deal 14 damage to this crocodile, the poison would just kill him when they activate. Speaking of Frizana, she'll activate next. She also gains 4 action points. She has a talent. She has Finesse. When you use an area of effect skill or item, you may choose which allies and enemies in the target space are affected. That's great because usually area of effect hits everyone, including your allies. It won't hit you, but it'll hit everything else. So if I dealt area damage right now, I would hurt Tanguistel in that location. We currently have a water wand. Not super strong, only 2 blue dice. It does water damage. All these locations are full of water though, so that would be plus 2 damage to whatever we do when we attack with this water wand. And then for each of those skill dice that we roll, we get to add plus 2. Before we look at Frizana's cards, I need to remember Tanguistel needs to cool down all of her cards on her cooldown track. She has 2 cards that were at the 2 spot, now it's at the 1 spot. We won't get that back next turn until the end, I should say, of our next turn. Frizana has 2 Hydrophysicist cards. This one lets us remove burning from everyone in the target space and it becomes wet. I'm going all water with her. This one is called Hail Strike. For each of these skill icons you roll, add plus 2 damage. If your target is in a wet space, they gain Frozen. That sounds cool. This rolls 3 white plus 1, and that's also a water attack. And that's targeting a single character. We also have Blinding Radiance. This one, first of all, if ever we want the illumination keyword during the exploration round, we can drop this into the 3rd slot in our cooldown track to give us that keyword for a round. Just so you know, that seems kind of cool. This deals the lightning damage, 2 blue plus 2. For each of these skill icons rolled, add plus 2 damage and all targets gain blinded. And then we have the electric discharge. This one says you may target a wet space as an area attack. If you roll any of these symbols, all targets gain shocked and their space becomes charged. So we actually would switch it from being water to charged. And what's kind of cool is a lot of these skills will do that. They'll change what that location has for its environmental effects based on the different cards that you're using. This one rolls 4 red dice plus 1 for your rank, so that'd be 4 plus 1 auto success. I kind of feel like a Hail Strike is a good idea. This is within range 1. We have a single target. We'll roll 3 white dice. We get 1 auto success. But this is a water attack, so we actually get 2 additional because our location is wet. So we'll have 3 auto successes here. And then hopefully we can get one of those symbols to add 2 successes. And no matter what, that target is going to gain frozen because that is a wet space. This minion's movement will be reduced by 1. They roll -1 die on all attacks. When they take fire damage, remove frozen. Makes sense because they can't be frozen anymore. But that's going to be guaranteed. I should mention in this game you can never miss. You're just determining how much damage you do. But this will also be placed at the 2 cooldown track on that crocodile. That poor croc. We're just killing it. This card will then be placed at our spot 2 on our cooldown. We have our 3 auto successes, 2 from the environment and 1 from the card. We'll roll our 3 white dice up. Oh, that's not great. Do I want to use my source? I think I'm going to. I love gaining rerolls, don't you? I'm going to discard this. Let's reroll this. Come on. We want a skill icon. No skill icon. But we did do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total damage. He has 2 magical armor, so that means we dealt him 3 damage. That means he has only 13 health remaining. I then think we'll use our electric discharge. This will use up our final 2 action points. We're going to roll 4 red dice, 1 auto success. It is electric damage, so I don't get the +2 from the location. But we could make this an area attack. Whoop-de-doo. There's only 1 enemy here. But the 4 red dice was too hard to pass up on. If we do roll any of those skill icons, the enemy will gain shocked, but then the space becomes charged. We have our 1 auto success. Let's roll these up. Oh boy, that is awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now he has 2 resistance, so that's 3 damage. However, he will gain shocked, and that location will become charged. That'll put the crocodile down to 10 health, and Tanguistel isn't too happy about that because that means now she's not going to get the extra action point starting here. But that still felt like it was worth it. It was a good attack. This poor crocodile is poisoned, frozen, and now shocked. This minion deals -2 damage on all attacks for the next 2 rounds. I do also want to call out, Frizana has a once per round effect. During your turn, you may move to an adjacent space at no cost. We don't have as strong of physical armor as Tanguistel does, so we're going to jump over here to the cliff face. And that, my friends, was a round. That was a blast, though. You can just see over here, we'll track this down by 1. We're down to 4. Oh, I need to remember to do the cooldowns for Frizana. It is very easy to forget that. Both of these will go to the 1 slot. We'll get them back at the end of our next turn. The crocodile starts its turn poisoned this round, so it will go down to 8 health because of that. And let's see, they can't heal. Yep, that's good. They have -2 to their attacks, and this one they roll 1 less die on all attacks. At the end of their turn, and I'm going to do it now so I don't forget, this will slide down to the 1 spot. After their next turn, which hopefully they won't be alive, these will roll off. We first need to determine who they are going to target. This means they're going to target the origin with the least amount of physical armor, and that is Frizana. That isn't great. This crocodile is going to come in over here. She only has, well, she actually has 2 physical armor. I thought it was only 1 on this fur. It's actually 2, so we're good. The attack is just 3 white dice, and they have 2 auto hits, so that will just deal her 1 damage. That's not bad. She's down to 6. All we need to do is deal this crocodile 6 damage, and then it'll be down to 2 health, and it'll kill itself with the poison. But I am going to do something to help Tanguistel since we kind of put her in a situation. So Frizana's going to go first. She's going to spend 1 of her 4 actions, and she's going to make it rain. Range 1, so we're going to make it rain in the shallows. That means that target location becomes wet instead of charged, which I like. I'm just going to move it from the board because that location was already wet. This will go into the 2 slot of our cooldown. We'll then use 1 more action point, attacking with the Blinding Radiance. This is 2 blue plus 2 auto hits, doing that electric damage, so we don't get any additional because that location right now has water, not electricity. For each of the skill symbols rolled, we get +2, and then all targets gain blinded. Blinded here states, this minion's range is reduced to 0. When they attack, the target origin may re-roll 1 of their dice. Oh, so cool. So that'll be placed in the 2 spot for this crocodile. This card takes a bit to refresh, though. We're going to place it on the 3 slot. We have 2 auto hits. We'll roll these up. That means 2 more damage. He's down to 6 health. Our last 2 action points, we'll just use this water wand 2 blue dice, but we're attacking with water and our space is wet, so it's 2 auto damage. First attack, we will deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total damage. That's 3 damage to him. That poor crocodile is at 3 health. We'll do it one more time, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 2 is 3. We just killed the croc. This also ends our turn, so we'll grab all these cards from the 1 slot and put them back into our hand. That's the Hail Strike and Electrical Discharge, and these 2 will slide on down. Our victory here is Something Shimmers in the Shallows. Gain 2 more gold. This means we have a total of 7 gold to play with. Ooh, I like it. From what I understand, Tanguistel doesn't get an activation for this combat because it's over, but she still gets her cooldown at the end of her turn, so these 2 cards will go back into her hand, so she has all 4 of her skills in her hand. That is important to note because Frizana still has 2 cards on cooldown, and if we found another combat at this next round, for an example, we're going to move the time marker to here, and if this has another combat, she doesn't get those cards back in her hand, and we don't heal. We'd have to do a rest round in order to heal. Let's look at card B. Card B states the rising tide. The water is waist high now, and some of the waves crash into you, threatening to swallow you into the sea. We'll flip this card. Each origin in a wet space takes 3 plus 2 because each location is wet, 5 damage. Tanguistel only has 1 magic armor, so that's 4 damage to her. She's going to go down to 2 health. Oh, I think the game's telling us to get out of here. Frizana has those furs which actually reduce the elemental damage for water specifically by 2, plus her regular one by 3, so she only takes 2. So she'll go down to 4 health. I think that means we know what we're going to do. We're going to go to our next location. The question is, which one do we want to do? We could either follow the footprints and go to the upper beach, or we could go to Fort Joy itself. I don't know why, but the upper beach is calling my name, so I think that's where we're going to go. We're going to move to page 4. Now, every time you move locations, you have what's called an interlude. We now can meet with a merchant and gain some more items. Yes! If we look here, we'd first see if we could level up. If the party was told to level up, each origin replaces their origin card and may unlock a new talent and skill. Can't do any of that. We were not told to level up. We revive and recover. Thank goodness. Each origin revives, heals to max health. Tanguistel is happy about that. She'll move back up to 7 from 2. We also each get to refill our source. So I used our sources each once, so we'll each get one of those back. Cool. There are some talents that are once per location. You'd flip those back over. We could trade, which I don't think I'm going to trade, because I think Tanguistel will a lot of times be in wet locations. I like her having the extra action. And then we can visit the merchant. The party may visit the merchant and buy and sell items. We get to follow the steps below to visit the merchant. If you do not have enough gold to pay the initial entry fee, there's an entry fee, which is cool. I like how they do this. Really makes the gold have value. If we can't pay that fee, we can't buy or sell any items. So choose an equipment deck of your current level or lower and pay gold equal to its level. Well, right now we have a level 1. That's what we are. So I'll spend 1 gold. We're going to go down to 6 gold, and we then can reveal some items. Reveal 1 item per player plus 1 from the selected deck and the same number of your choice of the 4 consumable decks. Then, the party may buy any number of revealed items for their printed cost. Each item may be equipped or stored by any origin. At any time, we can sell goods at half its cost. If we'd like to restock, the party can do that by choosing an equipment deck of their level or lower, or any consumable deck, and pay another entry fee to reveal another 1 item per player plus 1 from that deck. So we'd always be revealing 3. The party may do this any number of times. The restocking fee for each consumable deck is always 1 gold. So I'm going to spend that 1. That will allow us to see 6 cards, 3 from the item deck, and then I have to choose which consumable deck. There's tons of consumable decks. I decided to choose the grenade consumable because who doesn't like to throw bombs? I love throwing bombs. So I have 6 money to play with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am kind of interested, well, I'm for sure interested in this nail bomb. This one says it's 3 red plus your, whatever your rank is, which is 1 right now. And we get, let's see, it's a physical attack. And this says if you roll any of these, all targets gain sundered. So if we get a skill icon, that seems cool. So we're going to spend 3 on that, and we're going to definitely give that to Tanguistel. She seems like a bomb thrower. I then think we're going to spend 2 of these, and we're going to buy this leather cap, which gives an additional magic resistance. We're going to give that to Frizana. So Frizana has this cap, and Tanguistel has the bomb. And that's it. These 4, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to spend anything else to refresh because I only have 1 coin left. Here we have the Upper Beach location. I love this art. It looks so cool. Now, I was planning on having us go through 1 more of the locations because I feel like we have enough time. Unfortunately, I did get this second hand, and I am missing a card from this stack, so I don't think I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try and get that. And in the meantime, if you want to let me know in the comments below, would you like to go to the Upper Beach? Because we can always change. We could instead go over to the smugglers, what is it, number 5, Fort Joy's entrance. So we could either do Fort Joy's entrance or Upper Beach. I don't want to show you too much because I don't want to spoil it in case you want to go one way or the other. And in the meantime, I'll try and get my missing location card and we can continue with our adventure because I really like this. I want to do more. Hopefully this helps you determine if this game is for you. The skill cards, the time track, all the elements, the ridiculous amount of status cards. I really enjoy this, but you do have to be okay with doing a lot of math because a lot of the different status cards are going to impact the amount of damage you do. This is a lot of +1s, -1s. I don't mind that, but some people might. I also really love this book. I think this book looks so cool. I can't wait to continue to explore it. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our patrons and subscribers. It's because of you that Barrett and I do what we do here on this channel. And if you are excited to see what Barrett and I have coming next, then I need you to meet me at the table. Goodbye, everyone.